Yo, what's up, beautiful peoples? It's Melanie coming to you from my bed in the Outer Banks, North Carolina. And I guess this is when I do my best work, is when I'm the most vulnerable. I'm fully clothed, by the way, but currently going through another health issue. And I read something this morning or yesterday that I've always intuitively known, but healing takes years. And I've talked about this in past videos, where we damage ourselves from basically the moment we're inside our parents because our parents didn't know any better. And that goes to like down to the sperm and the egg, you know? All the way down to the core of it. And then we come out and we eat all this crap and we drink all this crap and we know that we're drinking crap and yet we still do it because I knew and I did it anyways. And then we can do it for some people. It's probably not days, but weeks, months, years. It took 3 weeks until my oldest daughter started having reactions to dairy milk through my breast milk. And it blew my mind back then that we as humans can milk another animal, and that felt normal to me then. Drink it, and my body starts digesting it the moment it hits my mouth. Like it's going through digestion the moment my spit touches it. So I drink it, it goes into my stomach, it's burned by acid. It then goes into my intestines and colon and gets absorbed into my bloodstream. My bloodstream then goes to my boobs and my mammary glands, and then is converted into, the nutrients are taken out of that bloodstream, and the mammary glands begin to create it into breast milk. So it's gone from something down to very minimal, not nothing, definitely not nothing, but molecules. I mean, it's going from something big, milk, to molecules, tiny, can't see with the naked eye. It's then being recreated into new milk. So this is like totally new milk. I've drank water, I've eaten food, and it's all created into breast milk. And then that breast milk is then given to my baby, and the moment it touches her mouth, it starts the digestion process. And yet she would have excruciating pain. She would scream after every feeding, starting at about 30 minutes post-feeding, and would scream for hours. Once she calmed down, it was time for another feeding, and then we'd go through it again. And as I sat on my couch in our little trailer down by the river, we lived in this like old ass 1985 single wide trailer that like had, it was so bad. As I sat there and I looked around and I ate my pint of ice cream, and I just had this like feeling or knowing. I looked down at the ice cream and I looked at my baby and I looked down at the ice cream again. And I remember my mom saying to me, "It's something that you're eating." And I was like, "What?" She goes, "It has to be something that you're eating." She like projectile vomits after she eats, and it's always after feeding. It's like, all I'm eating are bagels and cream cheese and a yogurt for breakfast, and it starts. She's like, "Well, it can't be that. That's not like hot or spicy or anything." And so it might have been that night or the next night, and I sat there and I ate my ice cream. And I had this thought, what if it is the ice cream? Like, what if it's the milk? And I Googled, which wasn't even a huge thing that back then. We're going all the way back to 2011. I think I had to get on the computer to use Google, and we didn't have cell service at the house kind of deal. I Googled, do babies have reactions to dairy products? And it started me down this rabbit hole. I know this is a long drawn out story, but we got time. I started going down these rabbit holes about it, and it was all these not, I don't remember it being like WebMD. I remember it being like blog posts from parents because it wasn't really talked about that much back then. At least I didn't know many people. And so we took dairy out. And within like a day, she was a whole new baby. And she was happy the entire rest of her existence. Like, she's been an amazing kid. If I accidentally got dairy in my food, she would go through it. It was hard going out to restaurants. They didn't understand. There was a point in time that people purposefully put dairy in my food because I'd ask for something vegan and add meat to it. And I understand that concept now from that perspective because of like who I am now. And they didn't get it. Nobody, and that's fine. But it was a real thing. And so we do all of this. I know that was like a crazy side story, but maybe somebody's going through it that needed that advice and that information for themselves or their family. We do all this damage to our bodies. We don't even know that we're doing this damage to our bodies. And we do it for months, weeks, decades, years, whatever, like prolonged periods of time. It's not that we're just doing it one time. We're doing it over and over and over and over and over again for eons. For generations. And we're all affected. Like, I was existing when inside my great grandmother or something. Like, those like 7 generation rules and ideology that we are all so connected. So this trauma has been going on for a really long time, just in the food alone, not including the emotional and mental and psychological trauma that has been put into us all of this time as well. But we're just focusing on food today. It takes years to get better from that. It doesn't take days, it doesn't take weeks, it doesn't take months, it takes years. And this is something I've intuitively known for years, that this was a long time struggle and process. And I was like, well, we got time. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Might as well enjoy it the best I can, right? And so I've gone through many like really serious healing crisis issues. And it's almost as if they've gotten more intense the last couple of years, where like I slept a lot and I rested a lot and I had a lot of energy back, I want to say like 2 years after going vegan. But as my body has like worked down and worked through all of the stuff and like gotten into the deepest of the deepest fat deposits, and I know this is kind of gross, but we're going to do it anyways. Oh, can't do it that way. Sorry. So like this stuff here, I know you're like, oh, she's super skinny, blah, blah, blah. I'm a Virgo and I analyze everything and I always think about all these weird ass things that people wouldn't normally think about. But in that section of tissue and skin, I can feel like granules of stuff. Like I can feel it. And I talked about recently having these strange cravings of like Pizza Hut. I haven't eaten Pizza Hut since at least 2016 or before. Like it's been a long ass time. And it was more of like a college food craze. So we're going back 20 years. I have these cravings for Pizza Hut and coffee and strange ass foods that I haven't touched in a long ass time. A fucking Red Lobster, at least 20 years. So I think I'm getting down into the nitty gritty junky funk that I have built up into my body. And when we talk about the body, holy shit, how amazing, right? Because if you take a truck, a diesel truck, a car, an electric car, a Tesla, I don't know. You take whatever you got, and instead of pouring gasoline or diesel into it, you pour gasoline and a bag of flour. You put it in there. What's going to happen? It's not going to run at all. It's not even going to leave your fucking driveway. And if it leaves your fucking driveway, it's not going to make it to the stop sign. It's going to be dead. And it's going to be really hard to fix and possibly not be fixed at all without rebuilding the entire engine from one incident. Yeah, we do this to our bodies. Got a crick in my neck. We do this to our bodies from the moment that we're born, and before that, like we talked about. We do it in excess. I went through gluttony. I went through eating half gallons of ice cream and entire Marie Callender pies in 24 hours. That was like my thing. And four shot espresso coffees a day. Like, I did it in excess. And so it only makes sense in my mind now, thinking about it, that the reason that I'm having all of these healing crises, going on this journey, is because I'm healing the shit that I have done for a really long fucking time. Last week, so now we're into the meat of the tofu of the story. Oh man, hang on a second. Okay. Oh, that's better. Hello, happy 11/11. So last week I started having this weird sensation in my right shoulder. It felt like a bug was crawling under my arm. And I've been doing a lot of parasite cleansing, and I was like, oh, maybe there's some like weird ass worm dying in my shoulder muscle. And that's really like one of the thoughts I had. And it just would be intense itching and just like wanting to claw my arm off and just. So I didn't think much about it because it would come and go. It wasn't constant, and it was frustrating, but I just would focus on something else, or like do like a tapping exercise like on the steering wheel as I was driving. And that was my journey at that time. And Friday night, Chris and I were eating dinner, and it started happening again, and it was so intense again. And so then I pulled my sleeve up and I look, and there's like little red blisters popping up, and I was like, holy shit, it's fucking shingles. Fucking shingles. Guys, I had shingles back in February of 2022. I had fucking shingles. And I had it on my right leg. And I'm like, God, why? Why am I doing this again? I'm like, well, at least it's not my leg. At least I can walk. At least it's not bothering me that bad. It's not something that I'm bearing weight on and on the lower part of my body with a lot of swelling. It's up higher, so it's not as uncomfortable. And so I went on about my life, and I remembered that I might feel like shit, and I might feel kind of like the flu, and I might not be wanting to do anything, or, I might struggle with doing stuff. And I knew that was later on in the illness. It's not like right away. So I kept living life, and I had a horrible headache all weekend. Multiple times I had to stop and rest and like just go lay down for 30 minutes or take an hour, and not feeling up to doing much. And come to today, I woke up at 5, went and did Lucky, came home, watered the garden, took the kids to surf camp. The one kid that didn't go to surf camp took her and the 5 bunnies to the park. Then came back to the house, then went to surf camp, watched the kids surf camp, and talked to people at the beach. Pack up from surf camp and beach adventure at 1, get home, or no, go to the grocery store. I went to the grocery store twice today. Come home. My one daughter made a smoothie, Lily, and we ate that. And then I said, I gotta lay down. Like, I'm exhausted. And they're like, it's okay, go lay down. And I call my husband and talk to him and say, like, I'm laying down, I'm not feeling that great. And can you grab Lily and take her to her doctor's appointment at 4:30 for her shoulder? She dislocated her shoulder surfing a week ago. And we're all a hot mess here, I guess, at the Brewer household. But, excuse me. Sorry, guys. I just closed my eyes, and I had planned to go to yoga at 5:30 because I haven't been in probably a week. I had wanted to go. My the yoga instructor was back. All the things were busy, right? And so I just shut my eyes. And I tossed and turned in dreams for 4 hours. I slept 8 hours last night. Like, I wasn't partying or anything. Like, I went to bed for 8 hours. And I slept 4 hours. And I woke up and I feel really not great. On a scale of 1 to 10, I just feel it, like 10 being my best and 0 being dead. I kind of feel like a 5. I just feel pretty rotten. I also got a cold sore on my lip last week. And so I Googled the spiritual meaning of shingles. And I know I Googled it last time. Oh, and there's one more revelation coming up for you guys. I know I Googled it last time, but I didn't remember because obviously I didn't learn my lesson, right? There's a couple lessons in this, but the spiritual meaning of it is like stress and not dealing with emotional trauma and not dealing with the things that are like stuck inside. And so it has to like erupt out of you and fire burn it out of you. So one of the revelations I had when Lily hurt her arm was she holds a lot of the journey here because of Lucky's needing what he needs up in Jarvisburg. And she, like, they all get up together in the morning, but she has to be the boss of it. And so she takes on a lot of burden. And the 2 younger ones didn't really want to help and didn't really want to contribute. And she felt so overwhelmed and she felt so stressed. And I kept, like, I was doing whatever I could trying to get the 2 younger ones to pitch in. So we're like a working family. And I believe in that concept. And if you think that's child abuse, you're crazy. But like the Amish kids, they're out picking rocks at 2 years old because we all should be contributing. That's how this world should be built. And kids playing video games and not actually working and doing what they should be doing is absolute bullshit. So our kids contribute. We all are part of a family. We all have different jobs and we all matter. And that's the thing that these injuries and issues are showing us, is because Lily holds a lot of the weight and I hold a lot of the weight and Chris holds a lot of the weight. So Lily being taken out of the picture, the 2 younger ones had to like step up and come into these roles, and they're ready. They're 10 and 9, and I was doing barn chores at 10, probably even at 9. It's time to step up. It's time to contribute and do your part. And so that's taught them that over this last week, which is totally awesome. The universe did it for me, right? And they want to help now because they see that they're having, like, they feel good from the compassion and empathy that they're having for somebody else. And they feel proud of themselves for contributing and doing a good job. And so those are really positive things that have come out of Lily's injury. So then I come down with the shingles. And it's teaching me again to step back. It's okay to step back. The world doesn't fall down when I step back. It's okay to rest. It's okay to miss a day or two and the world doesn't end, because I feel guilty missing sunsets, guys. I feel guilt and shame for missing sunsets because I feel like time is passing me by and I will never get it back and I will never get those opportunities back. And so shingles is having me like step back, take a little bit of the stress away, and it's okay. And it's affecting my right arm because I'm like, well, while I'm in bed, I can be painting. While I'm in bed, I can be doing this. While I'm in bed, I can be doing this. And it's like, Mel, fucking stop. It's okay to stop. It's okay to rest. Like, I ran a load of laundry and I'm going to fold it when it's all done. Because, you know, we're here to live. We're not here to be sick and dying. But I've got to have compassion and for myself and recognize the healing journey that I've been on and things that I've gone through and the things that I've accomplished and the things that I've worked through. And it's time to take that step back and rest and allow this process. And so I'm going to be over here feeling a little bit junky for the next, I don't know, couple of days probably, but hopefully back in action for the farmer's market this weekend. And yeah, if not, maybe Chris is meant to take a day off from work and go work the farmer's market. Who knows? One of the other connections and the last connection that I made being on the shingles journey. Actually, no, there's two. I lied. There's two. So, part of me believes, and you come across the information when you're meant to come across it. And I listened to a podcast. I think it was RFK with either Tucker Carlson or Russell Brand. And he talks about vaccines. Oh my God, I said the word. No. The jabby jabs. He talks about the jabby jabs and how they never studied the long-term effects of the jabby jabs. And one of the things he mentioned was that the people that received the chickenpox vaccine are at a higher risk and incidence of shingles later on in life, and not just once, but multiple times. And then I thought back and I remembered, because I didn't, like it was all a blur at that point in time. I had 2 babies at home and I was going to work as a traveler nurse. I believe they told me that my chickenpox titers were low. And I remember rebuttaling, saying I had chickenpox so bad I had it in my eyeballs. Like it was under my eyelids and everything. And that I was pretty sure I didn't need it and I wasn't going to get it. And I'd been around kids that had it and I was fine. And they said, well, your titers can decrease and then you can pass it on and you're working with babies and mothers and you have to get it. And so I think I did because the money was too good not to. Gosh, I was making so crazy. So back then I was making $1,800 a week to go and work as a labor and delivery nurse, and that was 2013. The jobs come in anywhere between $3,900 a week in the same area to $5,700 a week now. Please come work for us. We'll pay you anything. Your money's not effing worth it. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And this is why, because you pay the cost when you sell your soul. So I'm not selling my soul any longer, but I gotta burn through the fire to get on the other side of it. If you're asking if I actually have anything, I don't think that you can see. There's one like little blister here, right there. It's hard because there's not, I guess you can kind of see them a little bit. Being very tan, it's hard to see that kind of stuff, but it's there. And the heat helps. This is my giant bean bag of burnt microwavable beans, which is probably terrible, like radiation that I'm putting onto myself, but I'm doing the best I can with what I've been given, right? Heat helps everything on this journey, that's for sure. So if you're going through detox processes and if you're choosing a journey of health and healing and wellness, get yourself a good bag of beans that cost like $5 to fill a pillowcase full of beans and microwave the shit out of them for a couple of years. They start to smell a little bit funky sometimes, and then you just replace them and get new beans. Best hot bag ever. You could probably put it in the oven. It's just going to take a long ass time. I used to do that, and sometimes I accidentally toasted my bean bags, so I don't recommend that journey. But the last connection that I made with all of this was that when I had shingles the last time, it was February 22nd-ish, 2022, because that's when I finished the wall mural on the back porch. It was the 2 weeks before that, and I was struggling to be able to stand and paint and get it done. And I had 2 weeks to finish it before they were going to make me paint over it or pay somebody $3,800 to come and paint it. So I painted it. And now I was painting in the store, finishing up our wall mural for our store opening. And I realized I had shingles again doing this wall mural for our family, because the last one was for Huckleberry and our family. And this one's for our family. And there's 5 center petals because of the 5 of us. And then there's another 5 center petals that are spun a little bit differently, and that's for our 5 rabbits. And then there's all of these other number synchronicities that I counted up while I was there. It makes me smile because it's just really cool how it all ties in together and you don't even know that it's happening. So yeah, I don't know what the meaning is of that part of this journey. That both times that I'm completing these family mandalas, I'm being affected by a neurological nerve ending issue, because that's what this is. That's what this is. It's just really, really interesting. But I'm growing in the process, and I'm really grateful for the process. And I'm feeling much better spiritually through this process than I was the last process. And maybe because the mural that I'm building now is on something of ours. And I feel like that's really powerful. Where we rent here and the HOA owns the outside of the building. And that was something else that's coming up, like being owned by the US government. I find all of that really interesting and how that ties in. And so if you've stuck around for this length of the journey, bravo. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening and taking the time to hear what I'm talking about. And I know that through my storytelling, there are things to be learned and words to take in and bits of wisdom. And it's just from walking this path and taking this journey and asking the questions and wanting to know the whys. And so, yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for journeying with me. I really appreciate each and every one of you, whoever you may be. And I know that some of you watch me and you don't watch me in the best of intentions, but I hope that through watching my videos, somehow it creeps into your little subconscious and it helps set you on a different road of healing for your own self and well-being. So with all of that said, I'm coming to you from my my place of healing right now. I want to send you all so much peace and so much love and so much namaste. And the soul within me recognizes the soul within you, because guess what? I've probably been there through what you're going through. And I know what it's like to feel the rough, and I know what it's like to feel the good. And I send you the love through all of it, because that's what we deserve, guys. It's what we've always deserved. So I'm out of time, and that's it. Adios, my friends. Peace.